retreats to first for the first out. So we'll set lineups here shortly. And Keaton Gillick comes to the plate for the Beet Diggers. The Beet Diggers wearing their white uniforms with maroon lettering and yellow accents, gold accents. First ball to Gillick, fouled down the left field line. For Sterling, Trenton Allen in left, Andrew Wright in center, Brennan Welsh in right, Cameron Gonzalez at third, Memphis Dempsey at short. And the pitch, and that ball hit out towards Dempsey at short and through his legs for the air, and Gillick on at first. So we've got an error on the shortstop. So runners at first and second for the Beet Diggers here in the top of the first inning. Robbie Carrasco's at second and Ethan Falzine at first base. The pitch to Caleb Jimenez, fouled sky high, and that ball's going to come back fair, and it drops. And but everybody got a double play on that. The ball was hit, and because of the prevailing wind, it brought it back into the fair territory. They let it drop. Percy was staying where he needed to at second, and they let it drop, or it dropped, and they get the ball over to Cameron Gonzalez at third base, and then over to Robbie Carrasco at second for the double play, because the runners couldn't really go halfway on that, and they would have been hung out to dry if they would have caught the ball then at that point. So after 1/2 inning of play, Brush 0, Sterling will be coming to the plate. You're listening to Beet Digger Baseball on 1010 KSIR and the Eastern Plains Sports Network. With action in play, Kason Bamford leads off for the Sterling Tigers, and on a 3-1 pitch, he walks to first base, bringing up Dayton DiOrio. Keaton Gillick's on the hill for Brush Beet Diggers today. Wiley Eicher's behind the plate. We'll run through lineups and get everybody situated here. Right after this pitch from Keaton Gillick to Dayton DiOrio, runner leads off at first and swung at and missed. The Beet Digger starting lineup is brought to you by B&B Appliance. With over 30 years of experience, B&B Appliance can help match the appliances to your needs. Stop by 502 Ensign Street in Fort Morgan. Ben Metlin in left, Hunter Proctor in center, Caleb Jimenez in right, Tanner Ledgate at third, Percy Odell at short, Landon Mesh at second, Edgar Ortiz at first, and the pitch swung at and missed by DiOrio. And on the hill is Keaton Gillick, and Wiley Eicher is behind the plate. For Keaton Gillick, 29 and a third innings, 10 base on balls and 33 strikeouts, and a 4.06 ERA. The 1-2 pitch to DiOrio, and that's fouled down the right field line and out of play. We started just a little bit early. About 4:27, I think, is when we started. 65 degrees on the game time temperature. I looked at the radar, and there is showers in Morgan County, and it looks like they're headed this way from Fort Morgan and Brush, and they're sending it up this direction. So we'll see how that turns out. And the runner takes off, and the ball hit towards third base, towards Ledgate. Ledgate gets the out at second. And so we've got the fielder's choice, and Kason Bamford is forced out at second. And that is all we got. So let's go there. 5-4 on the putout. So that runner is forced out, and Dayton DiOrio's on at first. So Trenton Allen comes to the plate for Sterling with DiOrio on at first. Gillick checks DiOrio at first. Pitch. Pitch looked good, but must have been low. Ball 1 to Trenton Allen. Trenton Allen hitting .293 on the season, 11 RBIs. Jillick takes a look at first, lead, and pitch swung at and missed by Trenton Allen. Count evens at 1. Scott DiOrio, head coach for Sterling, in the third base coach's box. This is his second year as head coach. And that ball on a hit and run hit right where the shortstop was and gets the runner to second. And Trenton Allen has a base hit for a single towards left center field. So runners at first and second. Sterling has something cooking here in the bottom of the first inning. Ethan Falzine comes to the plate. Ethan Falzine hitting .457 on the season. Leads Sterling with 21 hits and 15 RBIs. Runners at first and second. 1 out. Pitch, strike on the outside corner to Ethan Falzine, the number 4 hitter in the lineup. Sterling ended up losing yesterday to Berthoud. That was just their 4th loss on the season. It was a 2-1 ball game. They were ahead 1-0 going into the bottom of the 7th inning on the game that was up at Berthoud. The pitch, and that ball hit down the right field line, and that is going to drop foul. Trenton Allen in the hole to Keaton Jillick, 0-2. So Sterling, they've only lost 4 games. They're 12-4 on the season, 4-3 in the Patriot. They've lost to Pueblo East 6-1. They lost to University 10-0. They lost to Eaton 5-0. And yesterday, I mentioned they lost to Berthoud 2-1. The Sterling's 4-3 record in the Patriot League, they are in 6th place. First and second, pitcher Jillick drills Falzine on the left hip, an 0-2 pitch. That one hurts for Brush. I think it hurt Falzine as well. He's walking it off down the first baseline. I mean, that got him right on the point. So bases loaded. Memphis Dempsey comes to the plate. Dempsey, the freshman shortstop, hitting .325 on the season. And we'll see how much we can get into this game without having a delay. I ended up seeing a lightning strike that looked like it was far enough away that it's not going to stop things right now, but at some point that lightning will move this direction, and then we'll have at least a half an hour delay. So Jillick in a hole, swung at and missed by Memphis Dempsey. Jillick ahead in the count, no balls and a strike, 1 out, bases loaded. I talked with Scott DiOrio, the head coach for Sterling, and just lamented the fact that they gave up the 2 runs to Berthoud in the bottom of the 7th inning to lose that ball game. They were within 1 pitch of winning and 1 out of the second baseman reaching up in order to be able to squeeze that ball, and it just line drived into right field and got the winning run in. But he lamented the fact that they did not score in the innings that they had opportunities to. Jillick ahead in the count to Dempsey, 0-2, and that ball fouled back to the screen. See if Sterling can score a run here against the Beat Diggers. Beat Diggers looking at it the other direction, and they're saying, what can we do to prevent these guys from being able to score? Maybe we can get a double play. Wouldn't that be nice? The 0-2 pitch from Jillick, and that pitch up and out of the zone. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Sterling team batting average is .328. Their on-base percentage is .486. Sterling's had a successful season. Bases loaded, the 1-2. And that pitch swung on and missed by Memphis Dempsey. Everybody holds up right where they are. So 2 outs, runners at first, second, and third. And Andrew Wright, the senior, comes to the plate. Andrew Wright hitting .246 on the season, 13 RBIs, but also susceptible to the strikeout. In Sterling's 16 games, he has 19 strikeouts. So this would be a good opportunity for Keaton Gillick in order to be able to get a strikeout. Bases juiced, the pitch, strike right down Broadway. This game was scheduled last week, and it was rained out. And here we are on a Wednesday playing baseball. And the pitch just outside, evens a count at 1. Sterling playing Berthoud yesterday, Brush today. They've got Liberty Common tomorrow, and they've got Res Christian on Saturday. Pitch from Gillick, swung at and missed. Gillick ahead in the count, 1 ball on 2 strikes. Looking to get the big K right here, get out of the inning without giving up any runs. Wouldn't that be sweet for the Beet Diggers and give them a little bit of momentum? You know, after losing 2-1, Sterling be disappointed. Brush, you just flushed that game from yesterday away. The 1-2, and that pitch, just on the outside part of the plate, but called a ball. 2 balls, 2 strikes. 2 outs, bases loaded for the Tigers. Earlier today, the wind was out of the southeast. I was thinking, well, it's going to be a low-scoring ball game, the way the field is oriented, the 2-2. And that pitch is popped up. Percy Odell gets underneath it and makes the catch. So for Sterling, no runs, 1 hit, and there were no Beet Digger errors, and there were 3 Sterling Tigers left on base. So after 1 complete inning of play, Brush 0, Sterling 0. You're listening to Beet Digger Baseball on 1010 KSIR and the Eastern Plains Sports Network. Brush and Sterling playing baseball in Sterling, going to the top of the 2nd inning. Beet Diggers' batting order is this. Percy Odell led off with a walk. Landon Mesh hits 2nd. Keaton Gillick hits 3rd. Caleb Jimenez hits 4th. Ben Metlin will lead off this inning. He hits 5th. Tanner Ledgate 6th. Sawyer Albert is the DH, and he'll be hitting 7th. Edgar Ortiz hitting 8th, and Wiley Eicher hitting 9th for the Beet Diggers today. Hunter Proctor is in center field. He's being DH'd by Sawyer Albert. Diorio finishes up his warm-up tosses. And Ben Metlin, who I feel has been hitting very well for the Beet Diggers. He didn't have a hit yesterday against Eaton, but the game against University, he had a couple hits, and previous game before that, he had a couple hits. And that ball hit out towards left field, and Trenton Allen is underneath it and squeezes that for the out. First pitch swinging, Ben Metlin. Tanner Ledgate comes to the plate. Ledgate hitting .371 on the season. First pitch to Ledgate, a strike at the knees. Uriel gets the ball, and he's going to work quickly. They're going to turn the lights on here at Sterling Tiger Field. And that pitch swung at and missed by Ledgate in the hole to Diorio. 0-2. Diorio, sophomore. The 0-2 pitch, and that pitch took a little bit off, and Ledgate swings through that pitch for strike 3 for the 2nd out in the inning. Sawyer Albert comes to the plate, the DH, hitting in the 7 hole. Sawyer Albert hitting .333 on the season. Pitch from Diorio, strike in the outside corner at the knees to Albert. Diorio quickly the pitch, and curveball, strike on the inside corner Ahead in the count, no balls and 2 strikes. Dayton DiOrio working quickly and throwing strikes. The pitch, and that swung at and down to third base, over to Gonzalez. Gonzalez over to first, 1 hop, and that ball on the throw from the third baseman, an error, as it was about 6 feet away from Ethan Falzine. Falzine wasn't able to come up with it, so the error on the third baseman. And Edgar Ortiz will come to the plate. Sawyer Albert on at first for the Diggers. 2 outs here in the top of the second. Lights have taken full effect here at Sterling's Field. Pitch upstairs to Ortiz. 1 ball, no strikes. Cameron Gonzalez at third, Memphis Dempsey at short, Robbie Carrasco at second, Ethan Falzine at first. Dayton DiOrio over to first just to keep Albert close. Dayton DiOrio, the sophomore, and Kason Bamford, the junior catcher for Sterling. Pitch, strike at the knees, outside corner of the plate. 1 ball, 1 strike. For Dayton DiOrio, 5.25 ERA, 12 innings pitched, 4 base on balls, and 12 strikeouts, and that ball hit by Ortiz out to left field over the shortstop's head for a base hit, and Brush will have runners at first and second. Just a soft little fly ball line drive over the shortstop's head, and enough to get a base hit. So runners at first and second. Runners at first and second for the Beet Diggers. Wiley Eicher will come to the plate, 9-hitter in the Brush lineup. 2 outs in the inning. DiOrio from the stretch in the offering, and swung at and missed by Eicher. Be nice if Wiley would be able to get a base hit right here. Wiley hitting .242 on the season, and that pitch outside evens the count at 1. Coach Tom Odell, the 6th year at the helm of the Brush Beet Diggers. Third base coach's box, Brad Wolf. First base coach's box. Pitch from Dayton DiOrio to Wiley Eicher, and that ball a strike at the knees. And the throw down to second base, and Albert back in to the bag safely. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Base hit here with 2 outs. Albert would be off with the hit and would score easily. That pitch outside evens the count at 2. Brad Wolf probably in his 8th year, as well as Christian Valles and Richie Grauberger as assistant coaches for the Beet Diggers. 2-2 outside, full count. So that'll give Brush an advantage. 3-2 pitch, 2 outs. Eicher puts this ball into play, then even Ortiz perhaps would be able to score from first base, and a fake to second and in safely. The 3-2 pitch, just making sure that Albert doesn't get going too fast, and that ball hit by Eicher out towards left field, and Trenton Allen comes in, squeezes it for the 3rd out. So for the Beet Diggers, no runs on 1 hit, and there was 1 Sterling error, and there were 2 runners left on base for Brush after 1.5 innings of play. Brush 0, Sterling 0. You're listening to Beet Digger Baseball on 1010 KSIR and the Eastern Plains Sports Network. We go to the bottom of the 2nd inning. No rain in Sterling. Brush 0, Sterling 0. And Brush had an opportunity, but wasn't able to capitalize on that in the top of the 2nd inning. Brush has had a hit in both innings, 1 each. And both teams have 3 runners left after 2 innings for Brush, 1 inning for Sterling. Robbie Carrasco comes to the plate for the Tigers. Robbie Carrasco hits .317 on the season. And Carrasco hits from the number 7 spot. Keaton Gillick, 26 pitches into the game, 16 strikes and 10 balls. From the full windup, Keaton Gillick, pitch, strike right down Broadway.
I think Coach DeWario probably could have left it out there one more inning just to see if he could have got through the 5th unscathed and then just have CJ needing to manage.
Take a look at the radar here, and that pitch, a strike on the outside corner. So Keaton Gillick starting to deal here in the 2nd inning. You know, I'm taking a look at this on the radar, and the showers have just gone over Sterling, and it hasn't rained. And that pitch swung at and missed by Robbie Carrasco. So strike 3. Brennan Welsh comes to the plate. Welsh hitting .182. Candidate for a strikeout. He's got 11 on the season coming into this at bat. Welsh hits from open batting stance. The pitch from Gillick swung at and missed. Strike 1. Now Gillick's dealing here. 30 pitches, 20 strikes, 20 strikes, 10 balls. The 0-1, Gillick to Walsh, and that ball hit out towards left field. And Ben Metlin back to his left about 8 steps and makes the catch for the out. 2 outs in the inning. Cameron Gonzalez, number 9 hitter for Sterling Tigers, senior. He pitched yesterday as well as Robbie Carrasco against Berthoud. Cameron Gonzalez hits .333 on the season. Cameron Gonzalez, number 21 on his back. The pitch, upstairs, a ball. Sterling wears their white uniforms with black numerals and the orange accents. And Brush with their white uniforms with the maroon numerals and marigold yellow accents. That pitch, a ball. 2 balls, no strikes to Cameron Gonzalez. The pitch, outside, ball 3. Just when I think that Keaton is dealing and starting to throw well, then he goes 3-0 on the number 9 hitter. Change of baseballs. Maybe this one has strikes in it, that other one has balls. Nothing but balls. The 3-0 pitch to the number 9 hitting Gonzalez, right down the middle. Strike 1. Kason Bamford in the on-deck circle for the Tigers. 3-1, and swung at and missed by Gonzalez. Full count. Gonzalez, 12 strikeouts on the season. And that pitch just outside, ball 4. So Gonzalez goes to first. Bamford, the catcher for the Tigers, takes off his shin guards and will be coming to the plate. Bamford walked his last at bat in the 1st inning. 30 minutes into this ball game. Temperatures down to 62 degrees. Gillick takes a look at Gonzalez at first, and the pitch swung at and missed. Strike 1. Looks like Gillick took a little bit off that pitch. Bamford was way ahead. The 0-1 pitch. And over to first just to give Gonzalez a look. And he's back in safely. Swung at by Bamford, strike 2. Pitch was tailing inside. So Gillick ahead 0-2 to Bamford. Diorio is on deck for the Tigers. The 0-2 pitch, and that ball fouled back into the screen. Must be a little bit of rain falling. Coach Diorio, Scott Diorio at third base, he's got his hood up over his hat, and people have their umbrellas out over here on the Sterling sideline, and over on the Brush sideline, they've got that out. The 0-2, and that pitch just outside, ball 1. And on the pitch, Cameron Gonzalez takes second on defensive indifference. Brush didn't even throw down. Why, I don't know, but nonetheless, he's on at second, and that pitch just outside. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Kason Bamford. Bamford hitting .350 on the season with 19 RBIs for the Tigers. I think I mentioned earlier that Falzine was leading in RBIs, but I think Bamford is one that leads in RBIs, and that pitch just outside will bring a full count to the number 1 hitting Kason Bamford. Gonzalez leads off at second. Gillick gets a sign from Eicher. The pitch, ooh, yeah, struck him out. It was one that the umpire just had to wind up on that in order to be able to call him out. So Sterling, no runs on no hits, and there was no errors, and 1 runner left on base after 2 complete innings of play. Brush 0, Sterling 0. You're listening to Beat Digger Baseball on 1010 KSIR and the Eastern Plains Sports Network. Brush Beat Digger Baseball on 1010 KSIR and the Eastern Plains Sports Network. Score is 0-0 after 2 complete innings of play. The wind is howling out of the northwest, and it is raining. And but yet it's not raining hard enough in order to keep these guys from stopping play. It just makes it terribly uncomfortable in order to be able to play baseball. Well, the kids probably, they just enjoy it. But, you know, probably the parents and everybody else sitting in the stands, it's one of those where it's like, brr, this is cold, hurry up. Anyway, Percy Odell comes to the plate. Percy led off the game with a single for the Diggers and comes to the plate 1-for-1. Dayton Diorio the pitch, and that ball inside to Odell. Odell, as I mentioned, 1-for-1 on the game, 295 coming into the game, so he should be up over 300 in the pitch, and that ball fouled down the third baseline. So 1 ball, 1 strike to Percy. This is going to be where whenever the ball is on the grass, they'll ask for a new ball. And Percy hits that ball down the left field line. Trenton Allen over to his right and jumps and makes the catch for the out. Landon Mesh, who flew out to Trenton Allen in the first inning, comes to the plate, 0-for-1 on the day. Mesh hits from the left side. Started the game hitting 400. And 0-for-1, so he'll dip just a little bit below 300, or into the 390s probably. The pitch upstairs to Mesh. And then up and away again, 2 balls and no strikes to Mesh. It's one of those where with it raining, the pitcher just feels like, I gotta go, I gotta go, I gotta go. 2-0 to Mesh, and that ball topped and out towards Dempsey at short, and Mesh would have legged that out. It's just underneath Dempsey's glove, but Mesh would have been able to get the base hit. So we'll give him a single on the soft grounder towards shortstop. Brush with 3 hits, 1 in each inning. Keaton Gillick comes to the plate. Keaton Gillick hitting 293 coming into the game, and he reached on an error, his first at bat, and that ball hit foul down the left field line and out of play. I umpire softball in the fall because the weather is always good. Generally, maybe one time in the whole fall, it gets cold and rainy and miserable. But in the spring, it happens all the time. These umpires out here have got to be pitch in the dirt. Count evens at 1 to Keaton Gillick. I just look at this and it's like, I've never ever been so cold as to when I was coaching and I was in the dugout. And I was like, oh man, I tell you what, in the spring it's just cold. And that ball hit by Gillick out towards center field and out to center, and Andrew Wright squeezes the glove for the second out. So Mesh at first, Caleb Jimenez comes to the plate. A buddy of mine, when we travel in order to go do basketball, we'd be on a long road trip and we'd say, what other sport would you referee or umpire if you could, you know, without any reservation? And we both came up with softball. Softball would be the one in order to be able to umpire, just because of what I stated earlier. The first pitch to Jimenez, a ball, and the second pitch to Jimenez, a strike on the black on the outside corner. Mesh, 2 outs, leads off at first. Diorio the pitch, and that ball fouled towards the right side and out of play. Diorio ahead in the count to Jimenez. 1 ball and 2 strikes. The 1-2 offering from Diorio, and that ball fouled up and out of play. Umpires are working hard at trying to keep those balls rubbed up. I mean, they will repel some of the water, but after a while they start to soak that water up on the baseball. It gets wet, gets heavy, and Diorio steps off the back of the rubber. And Mesh back to first. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Caleb Jimenez. And that pitch upstairs. Count evens at 2. Jimenez came into the game hitting 188. And he grounded out his first at bat. The 2-2 with 2 outs, the pitch. And that ball hit out towards Dempsey at short and picked up by Gonzalez. Gonzalez over to first base for the out. So for the Beet Diggers, no runs on 1 hit and no Sterling errors, and Brush leaves 1 runner on base. So after 2.5 innings of play, Brush 0, Sterling 0. You're listening to Beet Digger Baseball on 1010 KSIR and the Eastern Plains Sports Network. Brush Beet Diggers, Sterling Tigers playing baseball in Sterling, scoreless through 2.5 innings of play. Sterling will be coming to the plate. Dayton Diorio, the number 2 hitter, will come to the plate, hitting off Keaton Gillick. Gillick finishes up his warm-up tosses. Still raining in Sterling. The wind out of the northwest. The flag is standing pretty much straight out. So if the ball could carry, it could get up and over the head of these outfielders. You just never know what that wind might end up doing. Diorio comes to the plate. Diorio hitting .413 coming into the game, and he reached via fielder's choice his first at bat. Pitch, and that ball down the third base line, and that was foul. It took a strange hop just right before the third base. It was definitely going foul, and Tanner Ludgate goes over to field it, but he had to reach to his left in order to be able to field it, but it was definitely foul. So the 0-1 pitch to DiOrio. Jillick, curveball upstairs. 1 ball, 1 strike. The 1-1 inside. 2 balls and a strike to number 28, Dayton DiOrio. Sophomore for the Sterling Tigers. The 2-1, and that ball fouled into the screen. Evens count at 2. Sterling, the home dugout, they've probably got a towel over in their dugout, and they're probably drying all the balls as best they can, get them back to the umpire so the umpire can put them into play. 2-2 to Dayton DiOrio. Pitch, and that ball hit out towards left field, and that's going to take 1 hop to Ben Metlin, and DiOrio rounds first for a base hit. And that was a solid line drive out to left field. So no courtesy runner for DiOrio. If I remember right, I think DiOrio has a number of stolen bases, 15 stolen bases on the season. He leads Sterling with stolen bases. Trenton Allen single his first at bat. He comes to the plate. Trenton Allen hitting .293 with a 1-for-1 on the day, so his average will go up just a little bit. DiOrio takes off with the pitch and the throw down from Eicher, and safe in at second. So strike, and DiOrio with a stolen base. Still reigning in Sterling. Sterling played a close ball game yesterday and lost 2-1 to Berthoud on the road. Pitch upstairs, a ball. 1 ball, 1 strike to Trenton Allen, number 3 hitter in the Sterling lineup. Keaton Jillick take his knife or whatever they've got out there in order to be able to keep his cleats from filling up full of mud. Make sure he has good traction while he pitches. DiOrio second base for the Tigers. No outs, and the 1-1 pitch from the stretch, the offering, and Jillick fell down as he delivered the pitch. And that might prompt the umpires in order to be able to say, hey, maybe we need to just take a little bit of a break. Take a look at the radar here and see what we've got. Give Jillick plenty of time in order to be able to make sure that he has everything cleaned off. Looks like everything is just to the east of Sterling, although it's still raining. I would say in the next 15 minutes that this probably will end up being done, but both umpires concerned about Jillick as he fell down as he delivered that pitch. They're going to go over and talk with Tom Odell and Scott DiOrio in front of the third base, the Brushes dugout, and say, what are we going to do, guys? We want to keep these kids safe as well as be able to get the ball game in. We're going to take a break. We're going to go with a rain delay. Have no idea for how long, but as I looked at the radar, I'd say at least 15 minutes. But, you know, Sterling, what they can end up doing is they can get out, cover the mound, cover home plate. Hopefully they've got the material in order to be able to do that. So we break with a 2-1 pitch, 2-1 count to Trenton Allen. Dayton DiOrio, who just stole second, will be at the second base when we end up coming back. And here comes the team from Sterling in order to be able to take the tarp and spread it out over the mound and make sure that they get the right tarp over the mound and the right tarp over home plate, and we'll see what we've got from there. So we're gonna take a break. I would say at least 15 minutes, and hopefully it won't be longer than that. But if it is, we'll be back once they allow us to be able to play. So. Score, Brush 0, Sterling 0. You're listening to Beat Digger Baseball on 1010 KSIR and the Eastern Plains Sports Network. 35-minute rain delay in Sterling. Brush in Sterling in a 0-0 deadlock. Bottom of the third inning. And Dayton DiOrio is on at second base after he stole second. And Trenton Allen's at the plate. I mentioned before, I thought the count was 2-1, but the umpires, they ended up taking their break, and they were up here in the announcer's booth, and they said, no, the count is 3-0. The pitch that DiOrio stole second on was not a swinging strike, it was a ball. And so Trenton Allen with a 3-0 count. Trenton Allen single already on the day. DiOrio leads off at second. Keaton Gillick, 52 pitches in. We'll see what a 35-minute rain delay does with him. The pitch just outside a ball. 4. Trenton Allen on at first. Nobody out. Situation in the first inning where Sterling loaded the bases and they did not get a run, obviously. Talked to Scott DiOrio, and that was one of the things that he lamented about last night's ball game against Berthoud. Yes, they lost 2-1, but they should have had a bigger lead than 1-0 going into that seventh inning. And he thought if they would have been able to secure the victory. The pitch, and that ball fouled up and over the screen by Ethan Felzine. Felzine, 457. And he was hit by a pitch on an 0-2, his first at bat. 65 to start the game, 58 degrees right now after the rain. Looks like we're done, but the wind is still out of the northwest at this point. Runners at first and second, nobody out. Gillick the pitch. Swung on and grounded towards third to Ledgate. Ledgate over to Ortiz at first for the out. 5-3 on the put out. The runners move up for Sterling to second and third.
Took a big step past the bag, had it back safely. He's back in. And Trenton Allen stands on second. It'll fall on the freshman, Memphis Dempsey.
So 1 out. Runners at second and third. Memphis Dempsey struck out his first at bat. Keaton Gillick gets a sign from Wiley Eicher. Beat Diggers playing in. Pitch a strike on the inside half of the plate. Infielders are playing just on the grass. The 0-1 pitch, Keaton Gillick from the stretch, the offering, and that ball hit out to left field, so we should have a sacrifice fly, but that ball's going to drop as it one-hops the fence, so DiOrio comes in and scores, Allen comes in and scores, and Dempsey in at third with a sliding triple. So Sterling with a 2-0 lead. Here in the bottom of the third inning, Dempsey comes up big by hitting the ball a ton out to left center field. So 1 out, triple by Memphis Dempsey gives Sterling a 2-0 lead here in the bottom of the third inning. Initially, I thought that ball might have been one that the outfielder would have been able to get under, but it just split Hunter Proctor and Ben Metlin and all the way to the fence. pitch, outside, a ball.
Pitch to the dirt outside. Andrew Wright, the Wright senior.
35-minute rain delay from about 5:05 till 5:40. Beat Diggers trying to get away from their losing streak, and that pitch, a ball low. 2-0 to Andrew Wright, and that ball hit out to right field. And Dempsey's going to tag at third, and Ortiz makes the catch and the throw, and Wright in, or Dempsey in with a slide for the third run for Sterling. So sacrifice fly. To right field. And Dempsey comes in and scores 3-0 for Sterling. Got the 3 runs on only 1 hit. That's what base on balls do to you. And that ball fouled down the right field line. Both Dayton DiOrio and Trenton Allen were walked, and Dempsey with a 2-run triple, and then Robbie Wright with the sacrifice fly to right field to score the 3rd run. The 0-1 pitch to Robbie Carrasco. Jelic the pitch upstairs. Count evens at 1. Scott DiOrio, the coach, gives encouragement to Carrasco, the pitch, and that ball swung at and missed. Carrasco's front foot flailing towards third base, but the pitch was on the outer half of the plate. It's 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs here in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Sterling with a 3-0 lead. The offering, and that pitch, strike 3. And Sterling scores 3 runs on 1 hit, and nobody left on base. There were no Beat Digger errors. After 3 complete innings of play, Sterling 3, Brush 0. You're listening to Beat Digger Baseball on 1010 KSIR and the Eastern Plains Sports Network. Brush Beat Digger Baseball, we go to the top of the 4th inning with the Sterling Tigers scoring 3 in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Brush coming to the plate here in the 4th. Ben Metlin will be leading off. Dayton DiOrio, the pitcher for the Tigers, finishes his last warm-up toss. Kason Bamford throws down. And here comes Metlin. I didn't see Metlin in the on-deck circle, and I kept looking, but he comes to the plate, and Tanner Ludgate in the on-deck circle. Sawyer Albert is in the hole for the Beat Diggers. Diggers have a slight hole to dig out of here as we start the 4th inning. First pitch to Metlin, and that ball fouled down the right field line. Metlin, number 9 on his back. Pitch outside, a ball. Northeastern, whether you're a traditional or non-traditional student looking for an associate's degree or specialized certificate, visit njc.edu. And that ball popped up, and Carrasco, third baseman, back, and second baseman, or the shortstop, Dempsey. Dempsey comes over as the ball is moving just because of the way the wind is blowing out of the north-northwest, and that ball came back to the shortstop, and Dempsey ends up making the out on the pop-up. Shortstop made that out, and pitch to Ludgate, a ball outside. Pitch from DiOrio, and that ball fouled toward the third base coach's box. Count evens at 1.
Is at number 1, University at 2, Berthoud at 3.
Ludgate wears number 24, and that pitch in the dirt and to the screen.
Max Preps and the RPI together. I think the Tigers' peak at this point would be the number 4 seed. They can catch Bryce Christian. Going to be tough for Delta in the 9th spot for the Tigers to drop that far. Then it's a big game.
Pitch from DiOrio inside. 3 balls and 1 strike to Tanner Ludgate. Ludgate was out for a few games. He hurt himself a week ago. That ball down the third baseline and foul. Makes a count full count to Tanner Ludgate, the senior for the Beat Diggers. DiOrio, the sign from Bamford, and the pitch up and out of the zone. Ball 4. Ludgate down to first base. Say normally Tanner's always a candidate in order to steal a base, but I'm not sure how his legs are after his injury. This is the second game back since he injured himself. So Ludgate with about a 3-step lead. Of course, the field is going to be a little bit muddy. That pitch inside to Sawyer Albert. So 1, being able to get good traction, and 2, whether Ludgate's wheels are up to speed, and that ball fouled up and over the screen. Evens a count at 1 to Sawyer Albert. Bank of Colorado, they believe in keeping things simple. Apply for the loan you need for your dream home fully online. Visit bankofcolorado.com for all the information today. DiOrio takes a look at Ludgate and the sign, the pitch, and that ball hit by Albert. Albert hits it hard out towards left field, and Trenton Allen goes back, and catches it, snow cones it, and Ludgate was to second, but he goes back to first base. So Albert gives it a ride, but an out all the way out on the warning track. So 2 outs in the inning. Edgar Ortiz comes to the plate. Ortiz with a single just over the outstretched glove of Memphis Dempsey at shortstop. So Ludgate on at first. Ortiz at the plate. Pitch in the dirt to Ortiz, ball 1. The pitch, and that ball hit down the third baseline, foul. So Ortiz evens count, 1 ball, 1 strike. One ball, 1 strike to Edgar Ortiz. Ludgate, and that ball hit down the third baseline, fair, just inside the bag. Ludgate rounds second, headed towards third, and the ball gets underneath Trenton Allen's glove in left field, and Ortiz into second with a double, and Ludgate comes around and scores on the air from the left fielder, Trenton Allen. Pitch to Wiley Eicher. Eicher 0 for 1 on the day. Sterling still with a 3-1 lead, but Brush makes a dent here in the top of the 4th inning. I guess with 2 outs, Ludgate was running, and then Allen just made a mistake on that ball. That pitch, a strike, evens a count at 1 to Wiley Eicher. 2 outs. Brush with a run here in the 4th inning. Brush has a hit in each inning. And that ball hit out towards DiOrio. DiOrio takes 2 hops, underhands it over to Falzine at first for the out. Brush scores 1 run on 1 hit, and there was 1 Sterling error. and there was one runner left on base. After 3.5 innings, we're halfway through it. Sterling 3, Brush 1. You're listening to Beat Digger Baseball on 1010 KSIR and the Eastern Plains Sports Network. Halfway through this Patriot League tilt between the Sterling Tigers and the Brush Beat Diggers. Sterling with a 3-1 lead. Sterling coming to the plate here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Brennan Welsh will be the leadoff hitter this inning, the right fielder for the Tigers. Welsh wears number 7 on his back, a senior. Gillick finishes up his warm-up tosses. Eicher down to second, and Welsh comes to the plate. Welsh 182 on the season with a flyout, so his average dipped from that 182 mark. And Gillick is going to ask for a new ball, as that ball did get a little bit of wet grass on it and soaked it up. Umpire's going to put it in his bag, and it'll dry up there decent enough in order to be able to use it shortly. Gillick, the offering to Welsh, and the ball hit out to center field to Hunter Proctor. Proctor underneath it, squeezes it for the first out. 1 out, 1 pitch, 1 out. Cameron Gonzalez comes to the plate. Gonzalez reached via a walk his last at bat. Gonzalez pitched a couple innings yesterday. Robbie Carrasco pitched 4 innings yesterday against Berthoud. Both of those guys will be used when they play Res Christian on Saturday, and that ball fouled back and over the screen. I didn't know which pitcher that Sterling would use today, and they used Dayton DiOrio. I asked about Memphis Dempsey as to whether he'd pitch, and he says basically with Dempsey or DiOrio, basically same thing. So that ball hit out towards Odell at short, picks it up, and clanks off his glove. I think with Gonzalez's legs, he would have had that legged out for an infield single, even if Odell would have come up with that cleanly. So base hit for Gonzalez. 3 runs, 4 hits, 2 errors for Sterling. 1 run, 4 hits, no errors for Brush. And that brings up the top of the order, Kasem Banford. Banford 0 for 1 officially on the day. Struck out his last at bat, walked in the 1st inning. Gillick the pitch. That upstairs. Gonzalez leads off at first. Ortiz holds him on. Gillick gives him a look. Bamford digs in. The pitch. That pitch is upstairs. 2 balls, no strikes to Kasem Banford. Gillick gets a sign from Eicher, the offering. Pitch on the inside corner, a strike. 2 balls and a strike. 1 out in the inning. Brennan Walsh led off and flew out on the first pitch. And that pitch upstairs to make the count 3 balls and a strike to Kasem Bamford, the junior catcher for the Sterling Tigers. 3-1 pitch.
Call from Scott DiOrio, third base box.
Jillick takes a look at first, the offering, and that ball hit out to second base and over to second base for the out. So Landon Mesh to Percy Odell for the fielder's choice. Force out. Two outs in the inning.
Coach DiOrio, giving the hand signals to Nathan DiOrio, and now here comes number 10, Connor Gmalik, the sophomore, out of the dugout. So Connor will run courtesy for Bamford, and get the catcher's gear ready for the top of the fifth inning.
Dayton DiOrio comes to the plate.
Touchdown, runner on first here at the bottom of the fourth. DiOrio, single last inning, and was the first to step on home plate on the RBI triple for Memphis Dempsey that scored 2. That's the difference right out of the ball game. Check throw over first, and Connor Gmalik is back safely. Gmalik, small lead at first. Jillick wants to take it.
DiOrio 1 for 2 on the day. 2 outs in the inning. DiOrio swings at and misses. Pitch on the outside half of the plate. Kason Bamford at first base. 2 outs. Sterling with a 3-1 lead over your Brush Beet Diggers. Jillick, the sign, the pitch. Bamford off with the pitch. And Eicher, the throwdown. And Bamford. Bamford with the stolen base, but because the ground is wet, Bamford hit, and he's stuck. And his head went down, and his feet came up. It looked like he was making a dive off the high board. 1 ball, 1 strike to Dayton DiOrio, the pitch, and that ball swung at and missed by DiOrio. So 1 ball, 2 strikes. Bamford had the stolen base. 2 outs in the inning. Sterling with 1 run here in the 4th inning. Jillick the pitch, and that ball fouled to the screen. Count remains 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Runner on second, 2 outs, 3-1 Tigers, bottom of the 4th. Rush trying to keep the 2-run deficit and get to the top of the 5th inning.
See if Brush can keep it right here. They scored 1 in the top of the 4th inning. Love to be able to come back and put a 0 after that, but Sterling scored 1. Jillick the pitch, and strike 3. Boy, I thought that pitch was right on the black. Outside corner, the umpire's normal motion when he's had that to finish out an inning is he takes his time and then he ends up calling the out, but he didn't on that. So the count evens at 2 balls, 2 strikes. Bamford, I'm not sure what's going on with him at second base. Scott DiOrio, head coach, he comes over and talks. First base coach comes over and talks. I guess that's Connor Gmalik that is the courtesy runner for Kason Bamford. DiOrio at the plate, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Jillick gets a sign from Eicher, and the offering from the stretch. And called time, DiOrio called time, umpire grants it. Malik leads off at second as a courtesy runner. The 2-2 to DiOrio. And that pitch just outside, ball 3. Full count. To Dayton DiOrio. The payoff pitch on its way and just outside, ball 4. DiOrio walks. DiOrio has been on base all 3 times today. Fielder's choice, single, and a walk. Wiley Eicher, Keaton Jillick, change baseballs. Umpire's going to see if he can clean off the plate with all the mud and everything that gets trampled upon the plate in that area. 2 outs in the inning. Runners at first and second. Bamford, the leadoff hitter in the lineup. Diorio, the second hitter, pitch a strike outside corner to Trenton Allen. Allen walked his last at bat, had a single his first at bat, 1 for 1 officially on the day. Brush trying to keep Sterling at bay to where they don't score any more than what they have right now. The 0-1 pitch to Trenton Allen, and Gillick steps off the back of the rubber. Everybody resets. The 0-1 on the way and just outside, and Bamford off to third, and Bamford is out at third for the third out. So for Sterling, they score I take that back. Sterling did not score a run. No runs on 1 hit, and there were no beat digger errors. There was 2 runners left on base. Bamford was thrown out by Wiley Eicher to Tanner Ludgate at third. So after 4 innings of play, Sterling 3, Brush 1. You're listening to Beat Digger Baseball on 1010 KSIR and the Eastern Plains Sports Network. 4 innings in the books. Wind is still blowing out of the north-northwest. Percy Odell comes to the plate. Sterling with a 3-1 lead. My mistake here, there in the bottom of the 4th inning. For some reason, I had it in my head that Sterling come around and scored and took the run back that Brush scored in the top half of the inning, but my mistake. And Sterling did not score, but they left 2 runners on base that inning on the stolen base attempt by Kason Bamford, and he was thrown out at third. Percy Odell comes to the plate against Dayton Diorio. The pitch, outside, a ball. Three to one, Sterling over Brush. The pitch, strike, letter high, outside corner of the plate. 1 ball, 1 strike to Percy Odell, 1 for 2 on the day. First hit of the ball game for the Beat Diggers. The pitch, and that ball fouled. Curveball fouled over the screen. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Diorio gets a sign from Bamford. The pitch, and that pitch is upstairs. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Percy Odell. The 2-2, the offering from Diorio, and that pitch inside. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Morgan Community College. Start your associate degree, continue your education, or get a specialized certificate. Visit morgancc.edu for more. And that pitch outside, ball 4. Odell on at first. Landon Mesh comes to the plate. He's the one that you want at the plate. Come into the game hitting 400. 1 for 2 on the day. Odell on at first. See if Brush can dig down deep and score a run here in the top of the 5th inning. And Odell, the throw, draws the throw over to first base and back in safely. Looking at the radar, looks like there's rain and it's to the west of us. We should be dry here for the time being. This game continues. Who knows what might happen, but that pitch outside to Mesh. 1 ball, no strikes to Landon Mesh. Coach Odell at third. Base coach's box gives the signals. Percy Odell with a 3-step lead in the pitch. And that ball hit out towards center field, shallow center field, and Andrew Wright comes in a long way and makes the catch for the first out in the inning. So Odell at first. Keaton Gillick comes to the plate. 0 for 2 on the day. Reached by an error and flew out. Pitch outside, ball 1. 70 pitches by Dayton DiOrio, 41 strikes. And that ball hit by Gillick down to left field towards Allen. Allen squeezes the ball in his glove, and that's the second out in the inning. And Caleb Jimenez comes to the plate. 2 outs. Sterling with a 3-1 lead over your Brush Beet Diggers. DiOrio keep Odell close to the bag at first. Pick off. Odell back in safe. DiOrio checks him out again. Pitch and swung at and missed by Jimenez. No balls and a strike to Caleb. 0 for 2 on the day. Odell 3-step lead. Pitch. Strike at the knees. Outside corner. Caleb falls behind in the count. No balls and 2 strikes. Ben Metlin in the on-deck circle for the Beet Diggers, provided Caleb gets on base. The 0-2, and that ball swung at and missed. Strike 3. So Jimenez strikes out. Brush, no runs, no hits, no Sterling errors, 1 runner left on base. After 4.5 innings of play, Sterling 3, Brush 1. You're listening to Beet Digger Baseball on 1010 KSIR and the Eastern Plains Sports Network. Pitching change for the Beet Diggers. Wiley Eicher to the hill. Keaton Gillick to left field, and we'll see who's going to be behind the plate for the Beet Diggers. So Wiley Eicher on the hill, and Caleb Jimenez will be behind the plate. And Ben Metlin will go to right field. And Keaton Gillick is in left field. So Wiley Eicher will finish his warm-up tosses. Wiley Eicher on the hill for the Beet Diggers, and Wiley Eicher has a 3.88 ERA, 21 2/3 innings. In those 21 2/3 innings, he's given up 7 base on balls and has 23 strikeouts, a 3.88 ERA. For the Beet Diggers, their team ERA is 4.67, and we'll see what Wiley Eicher can do here. Brush has 4 games coming up this weekend in Hays, Kansas. Brush will go to Hays and play 2 on Friday and 2 on Saturday. Brush did this last year. They went down there and they were 1-3. They played some stiff competition, and be nice if they could go down there and be able to win 3 out of 4. And Brush has been on this 4-game losing streak, and their record has fallen to 7-8. And if the score holds, they'd be 7-9. So they would need a 3-1 weekend in order to be able to get back to 500. Eicher the pitch, and that ball hit out towards towards second base and over to first base for the out. Landon Mesh with a short hop picks it up and gets it to Edgar Ortiz at first. 4-3 on the ground out. Ethan Felzine is at the plate. Wiley Eicher, the pitch, outside. So we got Jillick in left, Proctor in center, Metlin in right. Ludgate at third, Odell at short, Mesh at second, Ortiz at first. Behind the plate is Caleb Jimenez, and on the hill is Wiley Eicher. And that pitch in the dirt, 2 balls, no strikes. Pitch in the dirt. 3 balls, no strikes to Ethan Felzine. 0 for 1 on the day. Hit by pitch and grounded out. 3-0 pitch, and that pitch all the way to the screen, ball 4, and Felzine runs hard down first base. Jimenez gets the ball back to Eicher. Memphis Dempsey with a 2-run triple, his last at bat. So that was the 2 runners on base before Dempsey had walked, and Dempsey cleared the bases, and then he's at third base, and then he came in and scored on a sacrifice fly. So they scored 3 runs on 1 hit that inning. Pitch from Eicher outside, and that ball is a pass ball by the catcher, Jimenez, as that ball goes to the screen. Felzine moves up to second. 1 out. One ball, no strikes. One ball, no strikes to Dempsey. Eicher, the pitch. And that ball, just outside. 2 balls, no strikes to Dempsey.
Dempsey trying to get the hand signal and number call from Coach DiOrio down the third base line. DiOrio confirms he's got it now.
Dempsey came into the game hitting .325. That pitch, outside corner for a strike at the knees. 2 balls and a strike, 1 out. Felzine at second for the Tigers. Sterling with a 3-1 lead over the Beat Diggers. Eicher, the sign from Jimenez. Pitch, and that swung on and missed by Dempsey. Evens the count at 2. Outfield for Brush playing just a wee bit deeper with Dempsey at the plate. The 2-2 pitch on the way from Eicher, and that ball fouled up and out of play. Count remains at 2. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. Felzine on at second. 1 out in the inning. Eicher, the pitch, and that ball swung at and missed by Dempsey. Caleb Jimenez picks it up, throws it at first. Ortiz for the out and over to third, and that ball down the third base line. And Jillick picks it up, and Felzine comes around and scores on the strikeout drop, and then the out at first, and Felzine comes in and scores for the 4th run for Sterling. So the first error by Brush today. Andrew Wright comes to the plate. 2 outs now in the inning. First pitch to right, low for a ball.
Apparently we've got a tornado warning down in Yuma, so if you're in the
1-0 pitch, and that pitch attempted bunt, but pulled back in time to where it wasn't a strike.
right 0 for 1, RBI 7.
2-0 to Wright. Wright had the sacrifice fly that brought in Dempsey in the bottom of the third inning.
Time, Tigers lead back up to 3. It's 4-1 on our carpet number 10 scoreboard out.
The 2-0 pitch to Wright, pitch a strike at the knees.
The zone, outside low corner.
2 balls and a strike. 2 outs.
Base is empty now, 2 outs. Tigers up by 3 here at the bottom of the 5th.
Pitch a strike on the black. Evens the count at 2.
1-2. Right, trying to shake some of the clay out of the cleats before stepping back in.
2 balls, 2 strikes.
Anchor the windup.
The pitch, and that ball fouled towards third base. Beat Digger dugout.
Try it again.
Felzine reached base on a walk
Back up the path.
and come around and scored
Right, using the barrel now to try to get
on the drop to third pitch.
third out of the bottom of the
Got the out at first, but then the ball was thrown down the third base line, and that ball's going to be hit down the first base line, foul. Count remains 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs.
2-2 count on the board, so that's what we'll go with. 2-2 count.
So Sterling with a 4-1 lead here in the 5th inning. Sterling 4 runs on 4 hits, 2 errors. They left 5 on base. Sterling Brush 1 run on 4 hits and an error here in the 5th inning, and Brush has left 6 on base. The 2-2 pitch and hits the ball out towards Ludgate, and that eats Ludgate up. So that's an error on Ludgate, as he was fielding that in a not really a good position, and it ate him up. And so right on at first, Carrasco comes to the plate. Carrasco struck out twice, once swinging, and his last time, watch the strike 3 hit the catcher's pud. 2 outs, runner at first. Eicher, the sign, the pitch, and that ball off Jimenez's shin guard, and pitch is a ball, and on the pass ball, Andrew Wright takes second. 1 ball, no strikes to Robbie Carrasco. Sterling with a run here in the 5th inning to get their lead back up to 3. Eicher, the pitch, and that ball hit out towards left field. And Jillick back 4 steps into his left, squeezes his leather, and for the out, for the 3rd out in the inning. So Sterling scored 1 run, no hits, and there were a Beat Digger error and 1 runner left on base after 5 complete innings of play. Sterling 4, Brush 1. You're listening to Beat Digger Baseball on 1010 KSIR and the Eastern Plains Sports Network. Back to Sterling High School baseball field. Brush and Sterling hooking up in a Patriot League clash. Brush behind as we go to the top of the 6th inning, 4-1 to the Sterling Tigers. Sterling with a 12-4 record, 4-3 in the Patriot. Sterling is 4-1 at home, and 6-2 away from home, and 2-1 on a neutral field. Coming into the game, Sterling has scored 145 runs in those 16 games, so about 9 runs per game, and they've given up 56 against. So was that about 3.5 a game? DiOrio the pitch, and Ben Metlin to the plate. First pitch swinging, 3-hopper to Gonzalez at first, over to Felzine at first. So Gonzalez third base, over to Felzine, 5-3 on the putout.
Check yourself there. Ben Metlin. One pitch for one out here.
Tanner Ludgate to the plate. He walked his last at bat, come around and scored the only beat digger run, and that ball fouled back and over the screen by Ludgate. Ludgate 0 for 1 on the day, struck out his first at bat, walked his last at bat, came around and scored all the way from first. Pitch, and Ludgate line drive out the left field, 2-hopper to Allen, and Ludgate with a single, 1 for 2 on the day. Sawyer Albert to the plate. And Coach Odell's going to have a pinch runner come in for Ludgate.
Coach Odell is looking for the dugout, going to sub somebody in here. Don't know who it is because they've got a big
Hard to say who that is. I'm going to say that's probably River Hodgson. Comes in and runs for Tanner Ludgate at first. I could be wrong. Could be one of the other younger players on the varsity for the Brush Beat Diggers. But he's got his pullover sweatshirt on. That pitch upstairs, a ball to Sawyer Albert. So we'll put River Hodgson on at first base. Albert at the plate with a 1-0 count. And that pitch by DiOrio, curveball, trying to shape it into the zone, but ball 2. Dylan DiOrio, Dayton DiOrio, the pitch, number 80, a strike, outside corner. 80 pitches, 49 strikes, 31 balls through 5 1/3 innings. Dayton DiOrio, the pitch, inside, and that hit off Albert's arm, and so Albert will go to first base on the hit by pitch, and Hodgson at second, Albert at first. Edgar Ortiz comes to the plate, 2 for 2 on the day, a single and a double.
Edgar Ortiz up to the plate, 2 for 2, a single and an RBI double. Flip one perfect into no man's land down the third baseline. Got underneath the glove of C.J. Gonzalez, who was playing a couple steps off the chalk line.
Runners at first and second, 1 out here in the top of the 6th inning. DiOrio, the pitch, in the dirt underneath, and ball 1. Got underneath the catcher and the umpire, and umpire stepped out of the way, and catcher hopped up, and there was a ball. But runners remained right where they were, first and second, the pitch, and that pitch upstairs, ball number 2. No activity in the Sterling bullpen. 2 balls, no strikes. Edgar Ortiz, 2 for 2 on the day. See if he can go 3 for 3. The pitch, that pitch on the outside corner, a strike. 2 balls and a strike. A base hit here would be perfect for the Diggers. Short lead at second by Hodgson. The pitch outside. 3 balls and a strike to Edgar Ortiz, number 27, on his back for the Beat Diggers. Wiley Eicher, number 1 on his back in the on-deck circle. 3-1 pitch swung at and missed. Evens a count at, full count to Edgar Ortiz. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Hodgson with a short 3-step lead. Albert has a bigger lead at first than Hodgson does at second. The pitch, and that pitch, strike 3.
Called strike 3.
Ortiz, bat still on his shoulder, going back to the dugout. Wiley Eicher comes to the plate. Boy, we needed a hit right there. Eicher at the plate. First pitch to Eicher, a ball outside. Top of the order for the Diggers in the on-deck circle. Percy Odell. Eicher facing Diorio, and that pitch outside. I think Diorio is tiring. He's pitch 89, number 90 on his way. I'm sure he's not gone this deep in a ball game at this point. 12 innings pitched on the season coming into the game. Pitch upstairs. He's not following through. Ball 3. So even though the weather is cool, still enough in order to fatigue a high school player. The pitch, strike right down the middle. The automatic, 3 balls, 1 strike, 2 outs, runners at first and second. Hodgson on at second, and Albert on at first, and that ball hit down the left field line, and that ball just foul. Out of play. Full count to Wiley Eicher. With 2 outs, the runners should be going. Last time Beat Diggers had this situation, Diorio stepped off the back of the rubber just to make sure that the runner wasn't taking too much liberty at being able to get a really big head start, but the fielders are back and there's plenty, and sure enough, Diorio makes sure that Hodgson doesn't lean too far towards third base, and here's the pitch, and the runners are off, and ball 4. Eicher takes first, so the bases are loaded, and the top of the order for the Beat Diggers comes to the plate. Big hit right here would be wonderful for the Diggers. Pitch to Odell upstairs, ball 1, and still no activity in the Sterling bullpen. But probably if they are going to bring somebody in, it's going to be Memphis Dempsey from the shortstop position. 1-0 pitch, and that pitch upstairs, ball 2. And that's pitch number 95 for Dayton Diorio. And here comes head coach and dad, Scott Diorio, in order to talk to his son, his pitcher, and see what they've got in the tank, see how, if he thinks he can get through this inning here. I'm sure the leash is not going to be long. If Odell gets a hit or walks, I'm sure that they'll make a change. Sterling playing another close ball game. Brush playing a close ball game. Forget about yesterday. For yesterday, Eaton is good, and sometimes, you know, a team can just snowball you, and that's exactly what happened yesterday. They just came in and steamrolled Brush 20-0. So you flush that one away. But today's a new day, and it'd be great if Brush could come in here and steal a win from the Sterling Tigers. Bases are loaded, 2 outs. Count is 2 balls, no strikes to Percy Odell. Coach Scott Diorio back to the dugout. Dayton Diorio from the windup, and pitch a strike at the knees, inside part of the plate. 2 balls and a strike to Percy Odell, number 2 on his back. The pitch, and that swung at and missed. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Odell. Anything hit, runners will be off and going. The 2-2, 2 outs, pitch, and that ball fouled back into the screen. Dayton Diorio digging down deep as he approaches 100 pitches. in this ball game. The 2-2. And that ball hit out to left field, base hit, and Hodson comes in and scores. And Albert comes in, and Albert comes in and scores. And that ball thrown down to third, and Eicher in safe, and Odell follows it up at second. So great for the Diggers. Two-run single by Percy Odell and Eicher move up on the throw as it comes to the plate. Hodson and Albert scored on the single. So runners at second and third. Landon Mesh, the best hitter for the Beet Diggers, comes to the plate. 2 outs. And that pitch outside for pitch number 100 for Dayton DiOrio. 100 pitches, 58 strikes, 42 balls. Pitch, and that ball popped up. And Cameron Gonzalez gets underneath that and squeezes the leather for the third out, but Brush is able to score 2 runs in the inning. 2 runs on 2 hits and no errors, and there were 2 runners left on base. So after 5.5 innings of play, Sterling 4, Brush 3. You're listening to Beet Digger Baseball on 1010 KSIR and the Eastern Plains Sports Network. Brush trails Sterling as we go to the bottom of the 6th inning. Sterling 4, Brush 3. Sterling 4 runs on 4 hits, 3 errors, and 6 runners left on. Brush 3 runs on 6 hits. There were 2 errors for the Beet Diggers, and they've left 8 runners on base. Wiley Eicher finishes up his warm-up pitches, and Brennan Welsh comes to the plate, 0 for 2 on the day. Welsh hitting below the Mendoza line. And let's see. Wind has died down a little bit, but I mean, every ball that's hit up, I mean, that ball that was popped up here and caught by Gonzalez, I mean, it moved quite a bit. That pitch inside to Brennan Walsh. Probably in about 25 minutes, we'll be getting some rain again here in Sterling, it looks like, just looking at the radar. But hopefully we'll be done by then. The score is 4-3. Wiley Eicher on the hill, and that ball popped up. And Percy Odell gets underneath it. Harley has to move and makes the catch for that first out in the inning. Cameron Gonzalez comes to the plate, 1 for 1 on the day. Walked his first at bat and singled his last at bat, 1 for 1 officially. The first pitch, a ball to Gonzalez. Eicher, the sign from Jimenez, and that pitch got him on the left shoulder. Hit by pitch. So Gonzalez on base all 3 times, 1 by a walk, 1 by a single, and 1 by a hit by pitch. Kasem Banford comes to the plate, 0 for 2 on the day. Brush with 2 runs in the top of the 6th inning. And that pickoff to keep Gonzalez close, and he's back in safely. Eicher the pitch. Strike on the outside corner.
Jimenez had some struggles last inning. Case of Bamford at the plate, looks at an opening strike.
So we got Metlin at third. Ludgate behind the plate. Jimenez back to right field.
Bamford 0 for 2.
The pitch. That pitch outside. Ball, one strike to Kasem Bamford.
Bamford waits on the 1-1. TJ Gonzalez played some chicken at first base and we'll go back to the inning after Eicher steps off. Tigers trying to argue that that was a balk. Coach DiOrio is right there talking about it. Coach Suter from first base. And they will.
And we got a balk. Runner started to go and then stopped, and Eicher turned around in order to be able to pick him, but then he held on to the ball. So balk. Gonzalez moves up to second. 1 ball, 1 strike to Bamford. Runner at second with 1 out. Pitch, and that ball fouled down the right field line, out of play. A ball and 2 strikes to Bamford.
Runner on second. Tigers lead 4-3. Scoreboard reads 7-1. It's frozen up. He's trying to get it fixed. See if they can get the display right, but it is 4-3.
Eicher, the sign from Ludgate. The pitch.
1-2.
That pitch on the outside corner, called a ball. Count evens at 2 to the leadoff hitter for the Tigers, Kasem Bamford. Bamford, the catcher. DiOrio, the pitcher. He's in the on-deck circle, the pitch. And that pitch, strike 3. Strikeout looking. 2 outs in the inning. DiOrio comes to the plate. And there is activity going on in the Sterling bullpen. So DiOrio's probably faced his last batter. And looks like it is Trenton Allen that's warming up in the bullpen. And I think he's hits next, so he should be coming. DiOrio takes the first pitch, a ball. Yeah, Trenton Allen is the next hitter for the Tigers, so he'll be in the on-deck circle. But Dayton DiOrio at the plate, 1 ball, no strikes to DiOrio. Eicher from the stretch. The offering, and that pitch upstairs. 2 balls, no strikes to number 28, Dayton DiOrio. Two balls, no strikes. And that pitch, a strike on the inside part of the plate. 2 balls and a strike to DiOrio. Two balls, 1 strike. Eicher, the pitch. And that ball fouled down the right field line. 2 balls, 2 strikes to DiOrio. See if Wiley throws his changeup to DiOrio. Wiley's changeup is very effective, keeping the other team off balance. The pitch inside and in the dirt, and Gonzalez steals third. Full count to DiOrio. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. The pitch from Eicher, and that pitch in the dirt. DiOrio goes to first base. So we got a first and third situation with 2 outs. Be great if Brush and Wiley Eicher would be able to get the out here without Sterling scoring, keeping the score at 4-3 going into the 7th inning. Brush has played everybody close except Eaton and Berthoud. Everybody else has been a good competitive ball game. Take the Eaton game out of the equation, and Brush has outscored their opponents on the season. That pitch fouled back into the screen. Before the Eaton game, Brush had outscored their opponent 74-69. So runners at first and third. No balls and a strike to Trenton Allen. 2 outs, and that keep DiOrio honest at first. Leading stolen base guy for the Tigers, and he's back in safely. See if there he goes, and that pitch, that ball hit out to left field, and Gonzalez comes in and scores, and that ball thrown from the left fielder, Gillick, over third baseman's head, and DiOrio on the stolen base, and then on the base hit, comes in and scores, and Trenton Allen at second base. So Sterling scores 2 runs on the single and stolen base, and the error by the left fielder, Keaton Gillick. See if I can catch up here on the scoring. And DiOrio came in and scored on the error by the left fielder. And Trenton Allen is at second base. So Tigers 6-3 over the Brush Beet Diggers. Trenton Allen on at second. Pitch to Ethan Felzine, low, a ball. So just when Brush gets back in the ball game, they dig a hole for themselves one more time. Both teams with 3 errors on the day. And that pitch hits Felzine for the second time, just in about the same spot as his first time, on that left hip, left side of his body. So he gingerly walks down to first base on the hit by pitch. Trenton Allen on at second, Felzine on at first. And Percy Odell is going to come in and pitch, and we'll see what Brush does with the rest of their defense. I think they're going to keep Ledgate behind the plate. Looks like Eicher's going to go to shortstop, and Metlin will stay at third. Wiggins Electric. Count on Wiggins Electric for quick, efficient, and courteous service to keep you up and running. They provide you with the service and the products that you need at your most crucial time. We'll change these around. We'll put Odell on it. Pitcher. I think I got everybody changed around. So let's see for Brush. Looks like we got Gillick in left, Proctor in center, Jimenez in right, Metlin at third, Eicher at short, Mesh at second, Ortiz at first. Percy Odell comes to the hill, Tanner Ledgate behind the plate. And for Percy Odell, 10 2/3 innings. 2.62 ERA, 4 base on balls, 11 strikeouts. So he's got his last pitch. Score is 6-3, Sterling over the Brush Beet Diggers. Brush closed the gap to 4-3, but Sterling has scored 2 runs here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Memphis Dempsey, the one that hit the two-run triple in the bottom of the third inning, comes to the plate. Dempsey 1 for 3 officially on the day. Odell the pitch, and that ball fouled towards the third base dugout.
Trent Allen on second, assuming Aiden Ortega there at first base. Either him or Cooper Burton. That is running for the Tigers. Odell making his third appearance at 2.62 ERA, 10 and 2/3 innings, 11 strikeouts, 4 walks, 4 earned runs, 7 total runs on 8 hits this season.
Pitch from Odell, curveball, strike. Ahead in the count to Memphis Dempsey. No balls, 2 strikes. 2 outs in the inning. See if the Beet Diggers can get through this without giving up any more runs. And that pitch, strike 3. So 3 pitches, Percy Odell, and the Beet Diggers get out of this. So Sterling scores 2 runs on 1 hit. There was 1 brush error, and there were 2 runners left on base for Sterling. After 6 complete innings of play, Sterling 6, Brush 3. You're listening to Beet Digger Baseball on 1010 KSIR and the Eastern Plains Sports Network. Brush Beet Digger Baseball on 1010 KSIR and the Eastern Plains Sports Network. Brush behind Sterling 6-3 as we go to the top of the 7th inning. Sterling with some changes. Trenton Allen comes to the hill for the Tigers. Trenton Allen takes the hill, and he's only pitched 3 innings on the season. It's 2.33 ERA. He's given up 2 base on balls and 5 strikeouts. Dayton DiOrio goes to shortstop, and Memphis Dempsey moves to left field, vacated as Trenton Allen came into the pitcher's mound. So for Sterling, defensively, Dempsey in left, right, and center, Welsh in right, and around the infield, third to first, Gonzalez, DiOrio at short, Carrasco at second, Felzine at first. Behind the plate, Kaysen Banford, and on the hill, Trent Allen. For the Beet Diggers, Keaton Gillick comes to the plate. Gillick 0 for 3 on the day. Now the wind is out of the northeast instead of the north-northwest. It looks like it's out of the northeast. So things have kind of switched around a little bit. It looks like we're not going to have any rain. It looked like there was on the radar that there might be rain coming from the Marino direction, but I think it's going to squirt around us and not affect us on this field for the rest of this ball game. Brush with 3 outs to play with to see if they can get 3 runs in order to extend the game. The pitch from Allen, strike at the knees, outside corner. Gillick falls behind 0-1. Trenton Allen, Kaysen Bamford, battery mates, and Gillick pops that up. Felzine down the right field line, and that's going to drop fair for a single by Gillick. It just was in no man's land. As Carrasco came over, Welsh came over, and Felzine went out, and it just was well placed. And Gillick with a single. Caleb Jimenez comes to the plate, 0 for 3 on the day. Dylan Krob on at first base as a pinch runner for Keaton Gillick. Short lead for Krob. Pitch from Allen, and that ball hit towards third base, and that's going to be foul ball. Gonzalez came up with it after 2 hops, but it was clearly in foul territory. Be nice if Caleb Jimenez would be able to get a base hit. Extend this inning. 6-3, Sterling over Brush. The pitch from Allen, and that pitch got away from Allen, and Bamford had to jump as high as he could in order to be able to catch that, to keep it from going to the screen, and Krob stays at first base. 1 ball, 1 strike to Jimenez. That ball swung at and missed by Caleb. Falls behind in the count, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Brush Bee Diggers do go to Hayes, Kansas. They play 4 games this weekend. KSIR will not go to Hayes, Kansas in order to broadcast those ball games, but we will be with you next Tuesday when Brush goes to Yuma to play, and that'll be a 3 o'clock game from Yuma. The pitch swung at and missed. Strike 3 by Caleb Jimenez. Ben Metlin comes to the plate. So Brush plays Yuma on Tuesday at Yuma. They play Strasburg next Wednesday, and then they finish up the regular season on Saturday, May 11th, at home against Platte Valley. Trenton Allen, the sign from Bamford. 2-step lead for Krob. Pitch a strike to Ben Metlin. Brush down to their last 2 outs. Krob leads off at first, tentatively. Pitch in the dirt, outside, a ball. Count evens at 1 with 1 out. Metlin at plate. Ludgate in the on-deck circle. Trenton Allen, the sign from Bamford, and that pitch outside. 2 balls and a strike to Ben Metlin. Brush trailing Sterling 6-3. Brush just has to get down and dirty and see if they can scratch through a few runs here in the top of the 7th inning. Allen, the pitch, and that pitch, a strike at the knees, outside corner, evens the count at 2. Trenton Allen, Kaysen Bamford working together, and they're going to get a new baseball here. I was going to say Krob with only a 1-step lead, but I guess he must have saw the pitcher reaching to be able to get a new ball before I did. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Ben Metlin. Krob with a 2-step lead, 3-step lead, and back as Allen steps off the rubber and back safe. Three-step lead by Krob. 2-2 and swung at and missed, strike 3. Brush down to their last out as Metlin strikes out. Tanner Ludgate 1 for 2 on the day. Struck out, walk, and a single, his last at bat. A sharp hit to left field. Krob leads off at first. And that pitch upstairs to Ludgate. Brush down to their last out. If they mount a rally, what a rally it would be. Runner at first, 2 outs, and that ball hit and The ball was in Gonzalez's glove and out, so that's an error on Gonzalez. And so Brush has runners at first and second.
Keeps the game alive. You know, the Tigers, nail-biting moments now. Sawyer Albert steps back in. Hit by a pitch, came around to
So runners at first and second.
represents the tying run.
Sawyer Albert is last. Well, his last at bat, he was hit by a pitch. And we're going to have a pinch runner, and that's going to be River Hodgson. River Hodgson comes to first base to run for Tanner Ludgate. Hodgson at first, Krob at second, Albert at the plate, Brush down to their last out, and Coach Odell's going to come in and talk to the umpire.
Coach Odell, have a word with our home plate umpire. Not sure what the discussion is.
So I'm not sure exactly what we've got going on here. Oh, he's going to get a different runner in.
Dylan Krob.
Okay.
So I don't know if Krob was the one that was running last inning and they have to put him back in, or what the reasoning would be to have to change the courtesy runner there.
Okay. We got runners at first and second for the Beat Diggers.
You mess that up and you put an illegal runner out there, that could be the final out of the ball game here. You've got a chance to tie things up with Sawyer Albert at the plate. You've seen Albert. It went a long way. It was just a better fielding play by Trent Allen.
Trenton Allen, 13 pitches into this inning.
Ball game here. Tigers up 3.
Albert at the plate, the pitch. Pitch is outside to Sawyer Albert.
Bamford gets a clean catch on it. Looks at the lead runner on second. Not going anywhere. Allen looks in. He sets. Looks at the runner on second.
The 1-0 pitch to Albert. And that pitch swung at and missed by Albert. Evens the count at 1.
Inside at the hands, and Albert
1 ball, 1 strike, 2 outs. Runners at first and second for the Beat Diggers. Brush trailing in this game 6-3.
Trent Allen this year.
Brush down to their last out.
We just wonder how
Just put the ball in play. Sawyer, keep the inning alive. Keep it going. Here we go. And that ball swung at and missed.
throw out by Bamford, and the Oriole won't have it tagged.
Throw down by Bamford to second base. And
Tigers looking to bounce back after
the runner back into the bag safely. 1 ball, 2 strikes
not the same thing here today.
to Sawyer Albert.
Through a rain delay, through downpour, through lightning strikes in the area. Tigers looking for
1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Runners at first and second. Allen
sets.
on the hill for Sterling. Albert calls time,
And Albert calls time and forces out.
and the umpire grants it.
Albert, couple of
1 ball, 2 strikes,
shoes with the barrel before stepping in.
2 outs. Here we go, Mr. Albert. Put the ball in play.
To end the ball game. Looks back at
Allen the pitch, and that ball hit foul down the left field line and out of play.
Try 1-2 again.
Count remains 1 ball, 2 strikes. Allen asking for a new ball from the umpire.
Ball says, hey, give me a new one out of the dugout. So, Mason Bamford gets one thrown to him. Riker Van Wyk, the junior, from the dugout.
Stubbs Gas and Oil, one-stop shopping does exist. Gas, food, and all your travel accessories. Get off I-76 at exit 66A in Wiggins to visit them.
Final chance for Brush. Down
Trenton Allen, assigned from Cason Bamford, the 1-2 pitch, the offering, and that ball is upstairs to Albert. Evens the count at 2. So we got 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Rush trailing the Sterling Tigers 6-3. It's turned into a nice evening after the rain. 2-2 and 2 with 2 runners on base. Allen, the delivery, and that pitch outside. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Looked like that pitch was on the chalk, and it was just outside. So with runners at first and second and 2 outs, we'll see how quickly Coach Odell gets his 2 pinch runners going. Make sure that they don't get picked off. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. The 3-2 pitch to Sawyer Albert, and that ball hit out towards second base. Carrasco over to Felzine for the ball game. Sterling 6, Brush 3. Ball game. Sterling moves to 13 and 2 on the season, 5 and 3 in the Patriot. Brush falls to 7 and 9, and they are 4 and 7 in the Patriot. Their 5-game losing streak continues. We'll take a break. We'll be back in order to do a wrap-up. Sterling 6, Brush 3, final. You're listening to Beet Digger Baseball on 1010 KSIR and the Eastern Plains Sports Network. The Brush postgame show is brought to you by Advanced Agri-Solutions. Get a full plan of seed, food, and water for your field. Now is the time to begin your planning for next year's growing season. Call Dusty or Roxy at 970-571-2024. Game time, 2 hours and 44 minutes with a 35-minute rain delay. We started the game, it was 65 degrees, it's 54 degrees, and it rained for a while, and they covered the field, but after that, we were able to continue in the game. Sterling, Dayton DiOrio gets the win, and Keaton Gillick takes the loss for the Beet Diggers. Sterling scored 3 runs in the third inning, 2 walks, and then a 2-run triple by Memphis Dempsey. And then Dempsey came around and scored on a Brennan Wright sacrifice fly to right. So Sterling scored 3 in the third inning. They scored another in the 5th and 2 in the 6th. And Brush helped them out in the 6th inning with an error in order to be able to secure the victory for Sterling. Brush scored 1 in the 4th and 2 in the 6th. Keaton Gillick pitched 4 innings through 81 pitches, 48 strikes, and the 3 runs that he gave up were earned. So I take that back. Wiley Eicher would take the loss for the game. Wiley Eicher ended up pitching an inning and a third and gave up the 3 runs. 2 of them were earned. And then Percy Odell got the 3-pitch strikeout in order to be able to close out that inning. And that pretty much takes care of that. Brush, let's see, Brush ended up, Percy Odell was 2 for 3, Landon Mesh 1 for 4, Keaton Gillick 1 for 4, Tanner Ledgate 1 for 3, Edgar Ortiz 2 for 3 for the 7 hits for the Brush Beet Diggers. And for Sterling, Dayton DiOrio 1 for 2, Trenton Allen 2 for 3, Memphis Dempsey with a triple and the 2 RBIs, 1 for 4, and let's see, Cameron Gonzalez 1 for 1, but he was on base a lot today, walked and a hit by pitch, I think, is how he ended up getting on base. So for Sterling, 6 runs, 5 hits, 3 errors, and 8 runners left on base. For Brush, 3 runs, 7 hits, 3 errors, and 10 runners left on base. Brush falls to 7 and 9. They've got 4 games in Hays, Kansas this weekend, and it'll be a tough trip. Hopefully Brush is able to come out of there with some victories. Next week on Tuesday, they play Sterling at 3 o'clock. They play Yuma at 3 o'clock in Yuma. And then on Wednesday, they play Strasburg in Brush at 4 o'clock. And on Saturday, on the 11th, they play Platte Valley at 11 o'clock. Those games next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Saturday, will be on KSIR. The sound engineer and producer of Brush Beet Digger Baseball is Rose Condis. I'm Kevin Fergus with the final score Sterling 6, Brush 3. You've been listening to Brush Beet Digger Baseball on 1010 KSIR and the Eastern Plains Sports Network.